wondering about why Reed's Bridge. Well, this was an area here which could be crossed, and it was part of the military road, and that was among the ways coming from the Memphis to Little Rock transit line to get into Little Rock. So a family set up here, I told. The Reed's family set up a bridge there, and when it got burnt down, we suspect the bridge got replaced. We don't have any documentation on it. The last big bridge was built in the late 60s, early 50s, and another sad part to that was, when you look behind me and you see this elevated road, well, that elevated road requires dirt, fill dirt to come from somewhere. If you look out across here, you see a little bit of a depression. This used to be more level going all the way up to the creek until you got to the bank, the actual banks itself. A lot of dirt and artifacts got taken out of here to build the elevated road here. And it's another example where folks did not assign a significant degree of interest or value to something like this. So we've come out here after we got about 8-9 years ago, and we did a formal metallurgical survey. We brought in metal detectors, we set up 10 by 10 grids, it was swept back and forth. We recovered maybe 15, 20 bullets. We found a couple of shell fragments, and we found a couple other pieces of old iron and whatnot that we think dates back to the late 1860s. They wanted to try to do something to make it permanent and to give this place a degree of proper recognition for its value. Because again, this was the last big major battle that the Confederates lost or won prior to the falling of Little Rock, and it was instrumental to helping bringing this state back into the Union. This particular spot we consider the primary, the center of the core of the Reed's Bridge battlefield. This was procured with a group, or by a group called the Reed's Bridge Battlefield Preservation Society, and the group started their efforts approximately 15 years ago trying to buy up land as it became available. And the idea was to take out some of the land and preserve it for posterity purposes so that at least there was something that we could recognize as a battlefield. So we bought this piece of land, started clearing it, and we put up some structures here to help give the folks a sense of what could have been and to give a little bit of a magnet to bring people out here. The group at that time was emphasizing a historical perspective. Since then, what we try to do is make this an attraction point for a lot of folks in the greater metropolitan Little Rock area. We don't have just folks come out with an interest in history. We have a lot of folks that come out here and they walk their dog. We've had various reenactments out here. We also get visitors coming out here for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts doing campouts. And we also have folks coming out here, especially with those brand new old buildings, creating the ambiance they like. They love it for backdrops for proms, for weddings and graduations. We're emphasizing that we want as much of the public to find a use for this place as possible. I'm also a master gardener. So what I've been doing to increase the interest from another dimension is I've been planting various flowers out here. And that includes these purple flowers over here and these big, tall, knobby looking things. And these might not look like something you typically see, but these are all native Arkansas flowers. Periodically, when I have the manpower and the time, we grow heirloom crops that local residents in the 1860s or earlier might have seen. We have heirloom apple and peach trees that go back to George Washington's days. So I've got currently 3 apple trees that have survived out of 4. And the apple trees are mature enough where we're just now starting to get a few apples off it. And we got 2 peach trees that are still too young. We also try to grow period-correct crops. And among the more interesting ones are there's a kind of okra that'll get 6, 7, 8, 9 inches long. Now, you won't see that in a grocery store. And we'll have different kinds of tomatoes, and among the tomatoes we grow is one that was probably, we think, carried on the Trail of Tears with the Cherokee when they were kicked out of Georgia under Andrew Jackson's time during the first gold rush in the late 1820s. And that particular tomato is called the Cherokee Black or the Cherokee Purple. So we have a lot of stuff that you don't typically see. And if we're growing out here, if you come by at the right time, it's quite possible that if I've got spares, I may give you a cap full of okra. I may give you a couple of tomatoes. I may let you pick a bunch of the lettuce and see what it tastes like. But the emphasis out here is to make this as inclusive and as interesting from as diverse a population as possible, to make this something of interest and a source of pride for the city of Jacksonville.